everybody for joining the webinar today, Shift Asia's global webinar series. How are you all doing? Okay. My name is Namiko. I'm going to be the host today, and I'm excited to uncover some of the hot topics in the industry with you for the next hour or so. And if any of you in the audience has any questions at any point, please leave them any common questions in the chat section as we have Q&As at the end of the webinar. So yeah, get started. First of all, a little bit about Shift Asia. As part of Shift Group, Shift Asia provides best in the industry software quality assurance services and development services to clients from all over the globe. And we're about 200 people, mostly out of Vietnam. So yeah, let's dive right into it. And I wanted to start by introducing our speakers today, because we have amazing guest speakers with us. First, we have Kate, Director of Security Services, and our guest speaker today is Daniel Knott from Germany, Head of Product Engineering. Daniel, would you like to do the honor of introducing yourself?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar or panel. My name is Daniel, Daniel Knott. I'm, as you already heard from Namiko, I'm based in Germany, northern Germany, near Hamburg. And currently I'm working as the Head of Product Quality Engineering in the company called myOneWolf. And yeah, we are a digital service consultancy. So we build products for other companies, for clients. And we also do the testing part of it, right? And I'm now for more than 14 years in the software testing industry. So started from web testing, mobile testing, which is like one of my beloved topics, and worked for different companies during that time. And for those of you who have maybe heard about mobile testing or mobile testing apps, I wrote a book about it called Hands-on Mobile App Testing. And I love to share like content and knowledge with the testing community on various channels. So on my blog, Adventures in QA, for example, but also on my YouTube channel, I'm talking about software testing and stuff like that. And yeah, if you're interested in following me or like want to know more about software testing and have a question also after the webinar, make sure to follow up the links below, and you can ask me whatever you'd like to ask me. Yeah, with that, thank you, and heading over to Kate, I guess.
Thanks, Daniel. Kate, would you like to introduce yourself in a few words?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My Vietnamese name is hard to spell, so in our company we use nickname to call. Please call me Kate. It's very nice to meet you, and thank you so much for spending time with us today. Now, let me introduce some information about myself. I have more than 16 years of experience as a software tester and trainer related to software testing. Now I'm a Director of Security Services and Skill Development of Shift Asia. My team is responsible for testing things related to security, for example, web platform, source code, diagnose. I also have responsibility to skill up our Shift Asia member by organizing training courses, supporting members to gain the Shift Group and Shift Asia internal certificates and international certificates. Yeah, I speak Japanese only recently, so my pronunciation make you hard to understand in some cases. I'm so sorry.
Okay, thanks, guys. So great to have you both today. As I said, we have a few topics to talk about, but before that, I guess we could look at some relevant data points. First one is global software testing market size. I would say software testing market is one steadily, growing industry despite the economic downturn happening everywhere in the world. So the industry in total is expected to reach 90 billion in revenue USD by the year of 2032. And second, global software testing market revenue share. If we look at it by region, obviously, you know, out of like 80, 90 million, $1 billion USD, North America combined is going to account for the vast majority of it, which is probably 25 billion in revenue, followed by Europe, Asia, Latin America, and the rest of the world. But I would like to note that Asia is the fastest growing region. And next is global outsourced software testing market size. On the left side, it's introducing how the revenue is growing for different types of testing, from functional, non-functional automation to agile testing. And I think, you know, each of the categories growing steadily, but I think the most growing, it's probably the automation testing in orange and green in agile testing. We can definitely talk about it in the discussions upcoming, but it's definitely an interesting data to look at. And on the right side, it's listing the industry verticals that are most active in utilizing software outsourced testing. And it includes, you know, banking, finance, insurance services, to telecommunication, to general IT, e-commerce, retail, and others. And it looks very similar to the client base that we have in Shift Asia, as we deal with a lot of insurance, fintech companies, to e-commerce and healthcare. Does it look similar in your company's portfolio, Daniel?
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it's what we're looking into is like test automation in general, like to help people, like, or to help organizations basically to establish these tough challenges, right? From automating from the user's point of view, but also keeping a track on the different tech stacks that they have implemented to have a good coverage across the systems. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, now we can dive into the topics. And the first one is the latest trends in software testing. So the panel discussion, to Daniel and Kay, we have a bunch of questions coming up. And the first one, we're going to start with what are the top trends that you see in the testing industry this year? If you can pick two top trends, Kate, what would you pick? Kate, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Okay. For me, in recent years, more and more companies are accepting testing as an early activity in software development lifecycle. So companies across the globe have goals to get their application faster the market, and with the priority of cost optimization. In this process, companies are adopting the best practice in Azure and DevOps majorly to reduce the time to market. Besides this, companies are adopting other trends such as AI, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, cloud computing, and many more. To me, I would pick SIP lab testing and cybersecurity testing are the top two trends in software testing to look out.
Oh, I see you mentioned shift left.
SIP lab testing and cybersecurity testing.
And security. Okay, companies are starting testing early and also concerned about security. I think it makes sense because, you know, those will probably stay in priority, as I can imagine the number of cyber attacks and everything just going up with the advancement of technology every year. And yeah, that's probably there on top of their minds. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, security is definitely in evergreen, I would say, right? I mean, companies, they really have to keep security on top of the list, but I think it's similar with like more non-functional testing methodologies or activities like also accessibility, usability, these topics, they have to be started, like as Kate mentioned, like as early as possible to start it with it like at the very first start of the day of the project, basically. Yeah, I just wanted to add that one. So yeah, my two topics or trends for this year or for the next years is one of the first things I would like to mention is AI, like AI and software testing. I mean, I have covered it on several videos on my YouTube channel already. I think that's a huge thing coming up to all of us. It's not something that we will see only in the software testing industry, but rather also in other industries for developers and designers and marketeers, like how they generate things and make use of the technology, right? On the other hand, of course, it's an early phase, the AI and software testing, and there's like the tool manufacturers that just going to start now with like implementing features that help us as software testers to make our jobs faster, easier, more efficient, I would say, right? I mean, don't be afraid that AI will replace software testing people, because I think that it's not going to happen, because you have to train the machines, in order to be like intelligent and to help us in testing. But I think it will be just like another tool that we have in our toolbox, like test automation, for example. I remember like a couple of years back when there was like the huge trend of, oh, we need to automate everything and we can replace testing with automated scripts. I mean, we're still here, right? I mean, it hasn't worked out well, right? So, and I think the same will happen with AI. And what companies still have to keep in mind is that we're building products for people and not for robots or machines. So that's why we always need to have our brains, our thinking, our risk assessment, and things that we can bring into the development phases, right? So, but nevertheless, AI will definitely have a big role in the next upcoming years. Yeah, so it can really disrupt the industry. The other thing is that I'm seeing in my current role as a head of product quality engineer is a holistic software testing approach, like from an end-to-end validation point of view, right? We are working with different clients that not only produce a web application or a mobile application, but also combine those products, for example, with IoT devices, with smart devices, or even with hardware devices like home appliances or like cars. And those companies, they struggle these days in having this holistic view of quality, like, okay, we build something at the very beginning, and let's say we build a web application and a mobile application, but then we need to connect it to a car, for example. And that complete chain is like really complicated to test end to end across multiple teams, streamlining with automation, these kind of topics. And so this is something that I see as a trend coming up, because like the products that we are building and using are like so interconnected with a plethora of technologies, data streams, so that we can consume in order to enrich the product. So this is becoming more and more important.
Wow. It sounds like the landscape of testing industry is going to be very complicated.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think you mentioned a lot of things right now, but yeah, I understand that companies used to be just okay with singular application, but now they have to do it in web, mobile, smart TV, cars, IoT, and everything, all of those working in sync. So you have to do end-to-end validation. And also, you mentioned robotics and AI is going to be incorporated. And yeah, it just sounds like a very complicated place to be for us. But this year,
definitely, it will be complicated, but sort of interrupting, but it will also be interesting, right? I mean, it poses a lot of potential and opportunities for us as software testers, because we can really make a difference in that complete development chain, right? To bring our value, our thinking to it.
That's true. That's true. It could be a threat, but it could be a positive thing for us and also for our clients. And yeah, so what was interesting is that you mentioned automation has been like a hot topic for industry leaders, but it hasn't completely replaced functional or like manual testing. So that kind of leads up to the next question, the impact of AI on software testing. Yeah, so Kate, Daniel, as he mentioned right now, robotics and AI, automation hasn't completely replaced us yet. But what do you think of the impact that AI potentially has on professionals in software testing?
Yeah, Daniel mentioned earlier, AI is indeed the latest trend in software testing. And I agree with Daniel that AI will benefit the software testing industry with great results going forward. It is a future, and companies already started investing in the industry. Technically, AI can improve the accuracy and effectiveness of testing, reduce the time and cost of testing, and identify bugs and issues that may be difficult for human testers to find. And the AI software testing is expected to replace QA and test engineer in the future, maybe 5 or 10 years. At that time, I think QA team and test engineer will play a new role in turning and monitoring the AI results. Besides that, still having many test activity and tasks still need QA team and test engineer to carry out. For example, verifying test oracle, communicating with stakeholders to clarify ambiguity and retrieve missing information, and suggesting improvement to the user experience, and asking uncomfortable questions, understand user needs. I think if our approach to AI is cautious, and we already start some experiment with AI and check out the possibility of applying generative AI tools in our testing services. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. I think when automation was adopted, I think there was like one way to do it, like by, manually writing scripts and stuff. But now, after 5-10 years, there are so many different ways to do it. So I feel like that's going to happen for, how companies and businesses can utilize AI in their operations as well. But Kate, at Shift Asia, have you guys started, training your test engineers on how to test with AI or how to test against AI yet?
Yeah, Shift Asia is the platinum partner of ISKB with majority of us being fully certified. So yeah, ISKB basically summarize what kind of methods and techniques are needed to conduct sufficient testing for AI-based system, such as self-learning system, autonomous AI-based system, and complex AI-based system.
Oh, interesting. So ISTQB, the testing board, kind of provides the documentation and the rules that engineers need to test with AI.
Yeah.
I see. Thanks for the input. What about you, Daniel? What would you say about the impact of AI on software testing?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, when I mentioned like the two trends that I see is that AI will have a huge impact on software testing. Not only like how we build products from an end user perspective, but also how we use the tools in order to have the right information to our fingertips right when we need it. So, I mean, as I mentioned before, I tried like in the last weeks and months, I tried so many different tools. Like what are the capabilities of the AI stuff? So there are tools like that you just give them like ChatGPT style, give them a phrase, and they will like completely write a test automation for you, and it's running. That's amazing, right? At the same time, you can generate your testing ideas, test data, and all this kind of stuff. So that's perfect, and that's what I mentioned. It's just the beginning, right? I mean, there's things that we cannot think of at the moment. I believe, but also there were like a few examples all online already that they're like also sometimes the AI is not correct, right? I mean, it depends on what kind of data the machine learning or the AI has been trained on, and there are like a lot of stuff that's not correct. Basically, I also asked ChatGPT a couple of times, hey, do you know me, like Daniel, because I wrote the book, and the output was not always correct, right? So, and if somebody is outside of, let's say, of the testing community and is using tools like that, he or she can be like blindfolded and lead to a wrong direction to misleading information, basically. So it's always to use AI systems with a grain of salt these days. Yeah. And also, like, one is what I see here in Europe is, because Europe has like a huge like data protection, data GDPR topic and laws, that companies here in Europe are currently a bit of, let's say, afraid of integrating AI products into their service portfolio, because, you know, if you ask ChatGPT or OpenAI or whatever's out there, like, translate this code from, I don't know, Java to C#. That sounds really nice from a developer point of view, also from a testing point of view, but you don't know like what the machine behind is doing with your code that you have written, that you have licenses, and maybe that's some company secrets getting leaked. Yeah. And I recently read an article that now Microsoft and other big companies, they're like heavily investing in these large language models in order to make them like also private accessible for companies. So then it's much easier for those companies to integrate these AI technology stuff inside their product, not only in the product for the customers, but also into the, let's say, the software development tool chain and toolbox, so that it can be used and that everybody can benefit from it. So I think there's a long way to go still, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So the big corporations are developing like ChatGPT API type of thing, so that other companies can incorporate better instead of building from scratch. Interesting. But yeah, you also said that I guess the role of test engineers will be expanded with the rise of AI, because we also have to remember the AI that we're testing is like another, you know, brain, right? But that's not yet smarter than us, because it's getting fed some sort of information from the other side. But depending on that input, you know, the answers in the response can be very limited, or it can be, you know, biased and stuff like that. So I think for test engineers, they should be aware of that. And I feel like, just like the Kate mentioned, you know, the ISTQB stuff, they need to have certain knowledge about the language processing and everything to be able to test against it or with it, I guess. Yeah. And you said that companies in Europe are scared of incorporating AI into their products yet, because, you know, Europe, as I guess, has a nature by historically be more sensitive about data versus data security versus, you know, Asia or like US. But yeah, how are they, I guess, reacting to AI right now? Are they still kind of just playing with it?
I think the majority of them, they are like exploring what they can do with it right now, right? I mean, they're like, you can explore with ChatGPT and other models what the software or what AI is capable of doing. And now they're trying to find out like what could be like a potential product that can be built up on AI. But still, they're like a bit of, I don't know if we can use it. Let's see what's going to happen. So many of them are investigating right now the opportunities they have. So I think in the long run, they have to adapt to it, right? Otherwise, they will lose the game compared to other countries, compared to other companies, and so forth. So they have to find a solution for it.
Oh, I see. I guess they're trying to explore right now the positive potentials and trying to balance it out with the risks that come with it. And I guess it's that phase. Interesting. I feel like over here in Asia, some countries are more, I guess, advanced in AI, like Singapore, you know, Taiwan, and, you know, followed by like China and stuff like that. But I feel like we're still exploring the potentials. Okay, is there anything else to add here about AI?
I mean, one thing that's just coming to my mind, I just read it like 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, it's also there's a lot of stuff going wrong with AI at the moment. I heard about Warm GPT and Poison GPT. So like forks basically from ChatGPT to use it to mislead the AI functionality, to provide fake news, for example, and to do things like that. So this is also something that's going to happen already. So that's the most dangerous part of using an AI, as you already mentioned before, is that it's trained on data that is being available on the internet. And we all know that the internet is not always right. Yeah, and then you need to consider these kind of topics as well into your mind, and also the fact of ethics, for example, is also something that you have to keep in mind when working with AI. And also, like, maybe there will be some sort of regulation coming up in the next years, but that's future, right? I mean, that's something that we have to keep in mind.
It should be. It should be. I mean, ISTQB is like the beginning of it, like the textbook, right? But I think there will be official regulations coming per country. So I feel like professionals in this industry have to be also aware of those different versions of regulations and also test against it. And then what you said about, you know, poisoning the mind of AI. So that's one perspective that we have to test against as well, I guess. Scary. Great. Thanks a lot for the input. That's very interesting discussion. So yeah, we're hitting the midpoint of the webinar. So moving on. The next portion will be about quality assurance and software development. I think it's just a frequently asked questions, but does software testing like really create and contribute to quality? What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, I think software testing is essential and certainly contributes to quality if it's done right. Testing is part of quality assurance. They go together because they are not the same thing. They differ in their objectives, features, and methods. Software testing focus on verifying the code, design, and detect issue, while quality assurance is a process of tracking and improving software products to meet quality criteria and customer expectation. Both processes play an important role in achieving optimum quality. They complement each other.
Interesting. So you mentioned testing is part of quality assurance, but they're not exactly the same thing. And if altogether done right, it will contribute to quality. Daniel, do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. And I also, one thing that to mention is that whenever I heard quality assurance, it's a phrase that I don't really like, because we as testers, we cannot assure the quality, right? I mean, we are testers, we test the product, and while doing the testing activities that we do, we make the quality to the team transparent. We find issues, we find bugs, and so forth and so forth. And I think is that it's much more important to establish a quality mindset within a software development team, or even better, on organizational level, so that everybody in the company has a sense for quality, right? So that the biggest goal should always like to be the best possible product with the highest possible quality. And then you can, as a tester or even as developers or product people, you can start like adding this quality mindset from the day you start a new product or a new process or whatever, right? And then to help the team as a tester to ask the questions, asking for edge cases, talking about risks, and so forth, right? And then also it's important to start early with testing. I mean, that's what you mentioned before with shift left testing. That's exactly what you should do. I mean, the more earlier you start with testing, the more issues you can find before any line of code has been written. So then it's much easier to fix that issue before it gets written into code, right? And that's why I don't like the phrase of quality assurance, or like, you know, the separation between development and testing. So developers write the code and then throw everything over the fence to the testers, and they can test. And then in the end, somebody's coming up to the software tester saying, "Oh, the software is completely failing. It's crashing on the customer side because we cannot test quality in," right? So we cannot test. If you put bad code in the beginning, we cannot test something well established on the other end at the end of the process. So that's why I agree with Kate here. It's a complete process and a chain of things that you have to do. Otherwise, you will fail.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I guess when you say the word assurance, like, we're not exactly assuring what's going to happen. It's more about kind of providing transparency on the numbers and indicators of what's going to happen or what the quality is going to be, what needs to be fixed at which point. And that alone shouldn't be left till the very end where testers show up. Instead, the tester should be part of like the whole development process and starting early. Interesting.
Exactly.
Awesome. So yeah, but like starting early, it's definitely going to be an ongoing movement, but how early is necessary?
Yeah, I mean, I think the moment basically somebody in a company has a new product idea, usually it's like product managers or like founders in a startup environment, they have ideas like, and then they should already think of the quality. Yeah, what could be like risks when we build that product, for example. So do risk assessments, risk storming, for example, and then have clarity on metrics that you would like to build against upon, like how fast an application should be, how fast it should respond. Like if we build a product that has, for example, payment included, so we have this checkout process, we need to think of what can go wrong with the payment data and these kind of topics. And the moment you think about a new product and you scribble the first thing on the paper, you can already bring a tester in and ask him or her the question like, hey, what kind of risks do you see here? Or from your experience from the past projects that you have worked on, what can go wrong, right? And that kind of mentality should be established inside a team in a company. And from that, you can build up on, like, from the design phases to prototyping, and then to first like MVPs and stuff like that. So really like starting early as possible. It's the way to go.
So I guess the product owners and stakeholders should have that mindset that you're saying, and be able to think about the risk, assess the risk, and then let the testers start working early. And depending on the transactions that the application is supposed to complete and then the risk related to it, that determines how early we need to do and how much testing needs to be done then. Interesting. Kate, do you have anything to add here to what Daniel was saying?
Yeah, I think what Daniel mentioned is clearly quality assurance, management approach, and that take into account all the policies, processes, standards, training, tools, and so on. They are necessary to ensure to achieve the company quality objective.
Definitely, I agree. So moving on, the next question for you guys would be, how should businesses treat testing in their development cycle? I guess it's kind of related to what we were just talking about, but do you think testing done by developers, is it ever enough or no?
I can start. No, clear answer is no. I mean, if a company decides that the developers should do the testing, that's a big mistake from my point of view, right? Because I mean, it says already the job title, developers should develop, right? They are responsible of developing the product into code and bring it to basically to life, to production. However, on the other side, of course, developers should always have this quality mindset and should also be responsible for doing their testing part, right? Being responsible for writing unit tests, do code reviews together, or do pair programming and these kind of topics. So they have to contribute basically to the overall quality. And I mean, I've seen many developers saying, yeah, I have tested it, you don't need to do anything. It's just a minor tweak. And then I just like built the product and it's crashing. And there was like, shocking faces. Like, hey, what have you done? It's like, okay, I just clicked that button that you implemented. Have you ever tested it? Yeah. And then they start to, to talk around the answer basically. And so I think getting rid of testers is a big mistake. right? I mean, of course, it depends on in which state a company is. If you're like in a really early startup phase, for example, and you have limited budget, of course, testing is not like on the top list of their priorities, right, of hiring. But the more established the product gets and the more complex and the more mature the product it gets, you have to invest into software testing and to help the team in enabling the quality in the product. Otherwise, in the long run, you will fail with it.
For sure. Like I come from ad tech background, and as you were saying earlier, it's about the mindset that the team has. And I feel like that industry doesn't have a high quality mindset where we just release something, you know, a version that's including changes, and whatever happens, we're going to fix it later type of thing. But like you said, like even if you write a clean, nice code, that doesn't guarantee that the system altogether, when integrated, is going to work smoothly, right? So yeah, I guess the unit testing, the testing done by developers is definitely not going to be enough. And that's definitely how businesses should be thinking, I hope. Right. Kate, what do you think? Do you have any opinion on this?
Yes, my answer is definitely no. Dev testing will not replace proper QA testing. Both dev testing and QA testing is skill test in some capacity. However, the approach, depth, timing, and scope of testing varies drastically between the roles. Organization and software teams should strike the right balance between QA team versus dev testing to save time and create more reliable software.
For sure. I definitely agree. So I guess we're kind of running out of time, so we could move on to the next topic if you don't have anything else to add.
No, fine with me.
Okay, cool. So yeah, everything that we just discussed about lead to another question, which is the next portion. So all of those testing, should it be done in-house or outsourced? Kate, what do you think? Obviously, you work for an offshore company, so you have a strong opinion on this, but what do you think?
Yeah, there are benefits and disadvantages to outsourcing and keep in-house. So no straightforward answer to the question. I think the two most important factors to consider are expert hiring and cost. We need to answer this question related to expert hiring and cost first. Is it easy to find and hire QA talent in your location? Do the company have expertise to scan and review candidates' qualification and experience? And the risk here is to hire wrong person. Even if you can hire a QA talent, what is the high and training cost to rehire when candidate quit or could not meet the requirements? Yeah, for outsourced QA testing is a better option when you have limited resources, need specialized testing, have seasonal testing demand, require global reach, or want to speed up time to market. At SIP Asia, we have certified test engineers with knowledge from different business domains, combined with the latest automation tools, proven SIP methodology framework to help business deliver high quality software products. Yeah. So outsourcing on have it in-house depend in case by case, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just listened to what you were saying. I guess it's not always a black and white, one fits all type of question. It really depends on the company's, the quality mindset that you guys mentioned, and the phase of product, and yeah, the objectives, I guess, overall. Daniel, what do you think? I guess with the line of work you do, you're in a position to kind of consult with clients whether they should outsource everything partially or have it in-house. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, as Kate mentioned, it's not like a there's no easy way to find the right solution for that, right? It's a case by case decision in the end, right? I mean, if you have, let's say, like an isolated product being like a mobile app or a web application, and that can be tested without like further like third-party tools or like hardware, this is much easier for companies to outsource. Yeah, of course, you need to have the capabilities to help the outsourced testers to get them onboarded in the product and educate them, and then give them access to the system. This is much easier. On the other hand, what we have in our recent products, our project, is that we work with hardware, with third-party products like robots or like cars or other hardware devices. And in that case, it's much harder, to ship like a piece of hardware to outsource software testers. In that case, it's much more expensive to deliver the product or like the hardware to the testers. Then it's easier to establish an in-house testing team that can do the things. But there's also, like as Kat mentioned, it's also like time consuming to find the people, to educate them, to hire them. So that's always something that the company has to start to think about early in the process when they start working on their product. So what's the strategy with quality? Can we do it in-house? Do we have the budget? Do we have the capacity? Or can we outsource and can be faster with things? Yeah, so that's case by case decision.
Yeah, right. At Shift Asia, we work with a lot of companies with their digital products like web mobile applications in fintech, e-commerce. So that's probably easier to outsource and it makes sense for them, like you said. But I think robots, hardwares, maybe like aircraft, like airlines, those would be, I think, very complex to test with. And they would need to look for the right person and the right team in the right place, I guess, to be able to outsource.
Exactly.
Right. Do you work with the companies like that, or you mentioned you work with companies with robots and hardwares?
I mean, in my case, we work with both. Yeah, we have companies. They say we have just a web product or we have just a mobile app. I mean, this can also be like complicated. It's not something that comes easy, right? This is something that we work with, but we also work with a lot of companies that produce hardware, and they now finally add to that hardware, they add software. And for them, it's complicated to, of course, to outsource, right? And on the other thing, one thing that's coming to my mind is that also some companies, they are again a bit of afraid, like, oh, this is maybe yet a secret. We don't want to outsource it. We would like to do everything in-house. And this is also a possible thing that companies might have, depending on the product that they're building. Yeah. But nothing that you could put under an NDA, for example, but that's going to happen as well sometimes. Yeah.
Right. I mean, NDA is supposed to protect you, but not always, right? Their data stuff, securities or data of people's heart rates, something that shouldn't be leaked, I guess. Exactly. But if the product owner has to, or like decides to, outsource it, is there a way to do it right?
I mean, the product owner or like the person who is responsible for doing that, I mean, that person needs to be really detailed in the things that he or she is providing, right? I mean, you cannot like write like a one-liner user story, for example. So you have to be really precise, like to give the people that are working like outside of your team the information they need to do their job, right? I mean, if you give them just like a one-liner of things, you cannot expect like a good result in the long run, right? So there's like a lot of preparation needed in-house in order to add the knowledge, to add the information, and then to process it over to the outsourced people. From my point of view, it would be like helpful to have like one person responsible of managing. I don't want to say managing, but like to manage the outsourced people, to help them in terms of questions, being responsible, being the contact person, actually to enable them to do their job efficiently. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I can definitely agree with that. We've had, projects that run both ways, right? Like one side having like a QA manager or like head of quality type of person who we can go to and talk about all those security concerns, processes, like everything that you mentioned. But there are other projects where we have to reach out to like every different person, and sometimes there's like a discrepancy in how to get the information to be able to, you know, come up with the right strategy for them. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that having like a manager, like an inside person, makes sense when especially when the product is like complex, right? For sure. So related to that, if businesses decide to outsource, what are the important aspects that they should consider in choosing the right partner? Kate, what's your opinion?
From our perspective as outsourcing company, we have a 5-step process that I think business should go through when choosing their QA partner.
5-step. Okay.
Yeah, the first step is identify your need. Why and what do you want to achieve from hiring a QA vendor? The second one is define the engagement model. Here, I mean the choice between different outsourcing model, on-site or onshore, nearshore or offshore. The third one is a proposal. State have a RFP or RFQ ready. And the fourth one is team assessment. Here you need to scan the QA partner team carefully based on factor like qualifications, communications, technology, and expertise, and commitment. And the last step is to check service level agreement detail. Yeah, as a trusted partner in software quality assurance and development, CIP Asia always put our client interest in mind when we seek out the best QA strategy and solution to fit our client need.
Yeah, 5 steps. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is obviously knowing what they want to achieve, right? I guess companies can really come to testing companies being like, just show us. You have to be able to tell them like what are the results and the data that they want to see, what they want to achieve in the end. And yeah, the second thing was the engagement model. Like Daniel, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, agreeing with the points that Kate mentioned, there are other things that are coming to my mind is also like when picking like a partner, long-term relation partner for testing or for even developing, right? I mean, it's also something like reputation. Like, is there like an online reference of that company? Like what this company has been done before, or is that company like specifically focusing on a certain topic? So for let's say AI development or IoT development or mobile development, and are they really expert in that field, right? So that's important. And also then get some references, see the portfolio of that company, what they have achieved, like, and also is like the thing is like, okay, when a company thinks they have found a partner, like how fast can they deliver like the testers or the people, like the ramp up time in getting the people on board, right? So that's also important because usually companies would like to be fast, right? They would like to work fast, ship early and often. So that's also important, like how fast like is the ramp up time for company. And yeah, so that's, and also like then how the company would like to work. Is it like more like a let's say engagement mode of bringing people into the team, into the development team? Let's think about an agile testing team or an agile development team. So you have the testers embedded into the development lifecycle, or is it something like excluded from it, right? So that as we mentioned before, you have like outsourced people and you give them the testing task, and they're not part of the development phase. This could be something that companies would like to have, but then that's a model they also have to decide on. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Daniel, yourself, I guess because you provide consultancy to your
Mhm.
clients, you're also involved in screening different vendors, correct?
You mean with vendors, you mean products like tools?
No, yeah, tools that's going to be used in a
Mhm.
project. Also, sometimes maybe you use
Yeah.
resource partners to provide you
Mhm.
the testers or specific needs, right? Because you can't manage everything in-house, and you might decide to re-outsource it to some other vendors, right?
Yeah. So what we do is we usually we take a look like on what the company, what the customers have in terms of the stack of the tool stack. If they're happy with it, if they're not happy with it, we show them basically the market. Say, hey, look, that's the market of tools, of things that you can pick from. And then we say, okay, if you would like, let's say with open source, you can pick one of these following tools because we have seen them in action in real life. If you would like to use like a page tool, like then this is the tech stack that you can pick from. So that's what we do. And then in case we don't have capacities to do the work within the company, we have partner networks and companies that we work with. And then we say, okay, look, we can bring this company in and they can help you, and so forth and so forth. That's how we play it.
Right. Okay. So in that process, you go through the screening process as well, like you guys just mentioned, from looking at the reviews, portfolio, the talent pool, the ramp up time, engagement model, pricing, everything. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so we have less than 10 minutes left, so we're gonna get into Q&As. Thank you guys. It's very interesting hearing about the industry trends and how different businesses operate over in Europe and Asia. And okay, so questions we have, let me just skim through it. Okay. One question for, it says a question for Daniel. What advice would you give to upcoming testers who are looking to adapt and thrive in the evolving landscape of software testing?
What advice? I mean, learn the foundations, learn the basics of software testing. You know, it doesn't. I always say that like if you test a mobile application or if you test an IoT application, in the end it's software, right? So in the end it's a piece of software running on a different environment. So getting like the software testing fundamentals is always key for me to success. Like to know like how to start with testing, what type of testing functions are there, what is functional, non-functional testing, so the basics. Other than that, what I tell people is to establish like this critical thinking mindset, like to really question things, like asking the questions, even though you feel like, oh my God, again, it's me, I have to ask that question, you know, then it's the perfect question, because then, and if you go on somebody's nerves, that's also the right point. So ask critical questions, critical thinking. And I think there are a couple of books as well out there to use for that, to use to train that skill set. And if you have those foundations established, then you can go ahead and pick an industry, pick a technology that you would like to learn, being it mobile, being it web, being it IoT, embedded, whatever, AI, and then dive into that technology and then learn about the programming languages, the tech stack that can be used, and then try to find like ideas on how you would like to test it, and then exchange with people, and from there you go, and then you will be successful.
Okay, so to be successful, they should, I guess, always explore and look at different options and be able to, I guess, pick the right optimal solution for the clients. And also because things in the industry are getting complicated and then evolve, like you need to catch up on those. And not only getting the fundamentals and following the textbooks, but you also need to be able to advise on the new stuff as well then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. What other questions do we have? Okay. Are there any ethical considerations to keep in mind as AI becomes more integrated into the software testing process? Who would like to answer?
I can take it. Yeah, of course. I mean, I mentioned it like in the beginning. Ethical is it's a really important topic, right? I mean that's something that I think many of the companies working right now with AI haven't considered yet. Yeah, so there will be big topics coming around the corner, and this is definitely something that people should keep in mind when working with AI. But I don't know the exact answer for that. I mean, when you're working with AI technologies in your company and bring the topic to the table, say, hey, look, what kind of ethical topics that we can cover in the product or in the way we implement AI in our products. And then from there, I mean, there are like a lot of books and also like literature out there about ethics in computer science and stuff like that. And then try to establish those, again, fundamentals as well in AI.
Yeah, I think there's no one single answer to that question at the moment. Right. And also another question that we have from an audience is, do we have any experience using specific AI tools in testing? Anyone wants to answer?
I can also take that. Am I back? I had like a little internet connection issue. Sorry for that. AI tools for testing. I mean, I have done a lot of stuff already on my YouTube channel. So like I tried lots of tools that are out there at the moment. I mean, there are tools that provide like self-healing capabilities. So in case you have a flaky test, right, and it's flaky because I mean maybe an identifier has changed, and then the software is able to fix that for you. So you don't need to bother of, okay, the developer has changed something and did not notify me that I have to fix it. But that's something that an AI software testing tool can do. On the other hand, they can generate test cases. So there is like one tool that you can integrate into your product, into your user story, and based on the description that you have given to the user story, the software is able to generate the test cases for you. These kind of topics, or code explanation, code generation is possible, and even complete testing scripts can be automated with AI already. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. Other companies as well, we are in the at the phase of, I guess, experimenting with different AI tools. And yeah, as you mentioned, we've used AI related tools mostly around, manual test case creation or catching kits, fixing flakiness, and then on the automation side, like the script generation, but also checking if it's right, or if the like one component in the user workflow changes, then they will be able to catch that and update the scripts and stuff like that. So it definitely contributes to efficiency of human testers. I certainly don't think that it's an enemy to us yet.
No.
Yeah, do you agree?
No, I agree totally with that one. Yeah, absolutely. I published a lot of stuff already on that topic, and I usually get feedback. Oh, I'm afraid of losing my job. AI will replace testing. I say, no, it's not. It's just like another tool that is helping us to do our jobs better. I mean, now companies need to find the right way in bringing AI to their product that will help us and not will like just destroy us is a hard word, but will not affect us in the wrong way. Yeah. So I think I'm optimistic to that one. I mean, for me, the software testing future is really bright. I mean, like looking at all the technologies that are being added to products gives a lot of potential to us in order to bring value, to add quality to teams and to companies. So I'm not afraid at all.
Yeah, definitely. Like as a salesperson, what I'm scared of right now is, you know, in the near future, clients are going to start asking for like drastically higher efficiency because they have an understanding that we're adapting these tools and then they expect us to do things faster, more efficiently, and you know, stuff like that. So that could be another topic for next time. Okay, it's just 4 p.m. right now. So thanks, Kate and Daniel, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the audience for joining us and taking the time. Shift Asia, we plan to host podcast and global webinars on a monthly basis. So yeah, hope to see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks,
Great day.
everybody.
Bye-bye.